This is Jump and Shoot play Mary Kate and Ashley double assassin mode, and I would be playing more of South of Midnight, but that game is just too taxing on everything. Like having the recorder up, having to play everything on low settings. Like, the game is choppy as it is on my PC, which is weird because it runs most other games just fine. Just that one is a little bit too crazy. So, but there is stuff I wanted to talk about, which from playing that game regarding like the enemies, but I I couldn't be asked to fire all that up again. So instead, I'm going to talk about it while playing, a baby easy game for my computer to handle, emulator wise. I mean, this is a real Nintendo 3DS emulator. Look at this person. I'll play my hardened move for the team, Chixie. Sure, what do you say, Abby? So yes, I've been playing South of Midnight, and I was saying during playthrough that it reminds me like a newer kind of American McGee's like Alice type game. You know, it's just like a big fantastical themed platformer. You know, you don't really see those too often, and it's just so inspired compared to like other modern stuff. Like, I think I've said Forspoken, and I can't think of like other games that tried to do something similar. Probably the Marvel Avengers game, which is tried to be like this big I want to say like Sonic Adventure style type game, but it was littered with missions that just seemed like really boring. They all just devolved into capture the flag, capture the point, etc. It's just, that's all that game looked like it was every time I saw footage of it. But anyway, speaking of things becoming kind of rudimentary, while I do like how South of Midnight looks so far, and I don't know if it plays, and it plays pretty well. All the dialogue and the character designs are fine and everything, but when I got to the enemies, like I'm still kind of early in the game, so maybe this is too early to say. I haven't seen all the types of enemies you would run into, but it started to become kind of bland. This is editing Jump and Shoot here. Yeah, so now that I finished South of Midnight, speaking of, there's 6 enemies throughout the whole game, and they're called Haints. There's the Ravager Haint, the Larva Haint, the Hurler Haint, the Slug Haint, the Brute Haint, and the Overseer Haint. And you end up seeing them all like 75% of the way into the game. It's like, you can't count all the enemies using just barely 2 hands. Like one on one hand, one finger on one hand, and then a whole 5 others. Like, that is kind of sad. And I'm sure that's not going to be the case, like, if I kept playing. And I will. Oh, let's get Larvitar. I think I already have Larvitar. I don't remember. But anyway. Yeah, because I do appreciate like games with extensive like bestiaries, you know, be they RPGs or action RPGs or like whatever. I don't care. They're typically in like character action games, or they're all fighting like some kind of thing. Like in South of Midnight, they're called the Haints, and that's like their version of, for like a better term, like the Heartless. I think most games like those need the Heartless type of thing, like a really big like arsenal, or not arsenal, but like army of like diverse creatures and enemies to fight against. Otherwise, it's just gonna be like boring fighting the same like 2 types of enemies the entire game, and it does make me. Or it's just, I start to feel a little gypped when you're playing in a game like that, like an action game, or or even Bayonetta is a good example too. um, where you're fighting the enemies. It'll be like your first few enemies, like, oh, it's the so and so. Oh, it'll be like the grunt. You're fighting a bunch of grunts, and then it'll be like, oh, it's an elite grunt, or it's the armored grunt. It's the grunt with the shield. It's just those types of enemy designs are so uncreative, and I hate when like the combat is already like simple enough so that I want to keep playing, but the types of enemies you fight are so base and just they don't do any like any innovation during playing the game. It's like, god damn it. Oh, Cacnea? Yes, Cacnea can join. Yes. Caddy. Just fucking name this one Cat Icarus. Just because. So, yeah, I'm fighting. In like the first 2 episodes, or the only 2, I don't think I'm gonna record more. I'm just gonna play the rest on my own. You fight like the Haint, and then there's a advanced Haint, and then there's the I don't know what you call it. It was like this egg spawn that spawned like bugs at you. It was like a wasp's nest. It was like, okay, there's gonna be what, the advanced wasp's nest, or and I'm not sure about that. But also at the same time, I was playing Dungeons of Hinterberg, and I'm kind of getting sick of the enemies in that game too, unfortunately. I think they're in Dungeons of Hinterberg, they're not even called like a name. They're just called monsters. They're just generic monsters. What was I supposed to do here? Level 10 and 13. Okay. Yeah, there's just generic monsters. Like there's the base ones. I don't even know if they have names. They probably have names, but they're kind of inspired. Like they start to. My impression is that they start to go into like Swedish folklore, where you see some enemies wearing deer mask and mask with horns, demon mask, stuff like that. You start to see gnomes walking around. I don't know if gnomes are part of Swedish or German mythology, but there's like a little bit of that. But anyway, I've seen like the same 10 enemy types. There's like a witch sometimes, and it's just it's getting a little boring. The combat is like okay. There's a lot of powers you can use that I've noticed you can use, but gosh dang it, I just wish a lot of games had big bestiaries like the Heartless, because other good examples I played are Kid Icarus Uprising, and then which has like 4 different factions of enemy types. There's like the Underworld troops, which are all these kinds of ways, and then there's the Aurum enemies, which are all the robot aliens, and then there's also the Viridi's army, which are all just plant-based or nature-based like enemies, and then there's the super underworld. I don't know. No, there's kind of a class of enemies for what's it called? Pandora, and I want to say Hades and Poseidon, or some of the enemies you would find in those levels. What else? There's a lot. So I think like I remember looking through the trophies equivalent of Kid Icarus and being like, oh, there's like 50 enemies per faction. Like this is how big, or this is how many enemies should be in these like kinds of character action platformer games. It can't just be like the same like 4 types of enemies. And that's kind of my beef with a lot of the superhero games, is I would be interested in playing some of them, but they're also just go into like basic territory with their enemy designs, especially it seems like Marvel's The Avengers, which just had a like what AIM, there were agents of AIM that were come and try to hunt the Avengers or something like that, and it would just be like a bunch of armored dudes or robots, and that's kind of boring. It's the same with like superhero games where you fight a like mostly human type characters. It'll just be like thugs and people in hoodies, and like this is boring. Or it'd be like SWAT team dudes. It's just it's boring. And I guess it wouldn't make sense to just throw in monsters into Spider-Man, but I don't know what else you do. Even what's it called? Suicide Squad, Kill the Justice League. That game did not look like it had very fun enemy designs at all. It was just like big purple assholes. Sometimes a robot. What the fuck is this Sandshrew? You just get out of my freaking face. I can't get you out of my face. No, what Ooh, okay. You lower my accuracy, and it might have Sand Veil, which reduces or increases evasion in the sandstorm. Just fuck off. Oh my god, the orb missed Sandshrew. I didn't know accuracy can make your orbs miss. Oh. Okay, turns a Pokemon into an item. Oh my GOSH. Wasted. I can't do anything. You guys, do something. Do something about him. Gosh. Okay. Metal Claw. You can have Metal Claw. Let's get rid of... Let's laugh, I guess. Yeah, Suicide Squad just has like generic purple enemies. Sometimes they're big. It'll be like, oh, it's the elite purple guy. Or I think they're all like Brainiacs, like copy people or some shit. But they're boring and stupid, and I hate them. And I also think of like the Subspace Emissary, how like that was basically Nintendo's like Heartless for Smash Bros. And I thought that was super fucking cool. You had like this big art, I don't know, what do you call it? Menagerie of enemies that are all just like very diverse, and I love that. And there's also what unifies them all together is that they all have like a symbol on them that shows what faction they are. They all have that E symbol for emissary. Same, it's like the Heartless symbol or the nobodies. And Kingdom Hearts like also has a lot of types of enemies too. They have the Heartless, which all have the Heartless emblem on them. The nobodies. There's like what, like 13 or 15 or so nobody types. But there's also the Unverse, the Dream Eaters, stuff like that. I think more games where you fight a lot of enemies in like groups. You gotta have diverse enemies. And I know this isn't even comparable probably, but I look at Destiny, and I've seen videos from I Hate Everything, who complains about a lot of the enemy types in that game, or it's just like they just bullet sponge. They're just like bullet sponges of enemies, and they. Another thing I dislike is when you're playing like a Devil May Cry type game. Maybe not specifically Devil May Cry. I haven't played one yet, but I guess we can leave. Where you fight like a squad of enemies, and then you feel like the big one that comes in like the arena, and then when you first see one, it'll be like, oh, is this the boss? And then the one that is the quote unquote boss gets reused in other locations. Then the big boss like enemies just become regular enemies across like the rest of the game. It's fucking annoying. It happened in Alice Madness Returns too, where you get to the doll world. I forget what it's called. The Dollarama. You messed up my Dollarama. You get to the doll world, and one of the first things, like big enemies you see is like this big ass doll with its eye missing or whatever. And I'm like, oh, finally a boss. This game has like no bosses. And then you fight like 5 more of them in the rest of the stage. I'm like, oh my god. When like when basic enemies are presented as being like the boss of the area and then they get reused too much, that pisses me off. That's boring. I'm sorry. And that just also shows that like how little enemy designs there are in like those kinds of games. And I feel like that was going to happen in South of Midnight as I was playing it. So yeah, that's where I'm at. But see, it's okay because I know South of Midnight will have bosses because in the fucking options menu it'll ask you if you want to skip them, which I think is incredibly dumb. But yeah, Subspace, the Heartless, and what else? The enemies in Kid Icarus Uprising are really good examples. I don't know why I'm saving for. Oh, The Road Ends With You has the noise, which are I know they're just like animals, but they're also super stylized, and they all have the central theme of being looking like tribal tattoos that you would see on people, I guess. But they're also like graffiti that come to life, or tattoos that come to life in the form of animals, and they're all their name schemes are all based on like genres of music. So there's like the trash panda. No, that's not a real enemy. There's like the grunge frog, the psychedelic trance frog. There's the prog rock kangaroo, shit like that. The like that's a fun idea, And also really liked the idea of a Metroid Prime 2, where on top of like regular enemies or creatures in the area, there'd be like dark versions of every single one. So it would be like you encounter a I don't know, a Neo bug or a Metroid or something. And then for every enemy in the game, there's a dark version of it, or there's like a space pirate and a dark space pirate. Like that shit is cool. And it adds like a whole new layer on top of like the already established enemies in the game. Like, oh, now you can fight the dark versions of them. But I keep having to ask myself, why aren't games doing this? Like, do they not like have creative enough enemy designs, or like maybe the game calls for just really basic stuff, like, oh well, just this is the one you can just attack, this is the one that has a shield sometimes, etc, etc. And circling back to Bayonetta has the angels, which are all its own fucking aesthetic. And they pull from, heavy religious Christianity lore. But they're all like pretty diverse, and they all have like interesting names too. Their naming scheme is like, they're all like names of either emotions or states of mind. Like, oh, there's joy, or there's anger, or there's wrath, or like stuff like that, or jubilee. I don't know what you call those kinds of name or words, but I think they would have like pseudo biblical type titles too. Like it would be like something, God, glamour in pain and waiting, or something like that. But there's such a style with the angels in that game where like um they're all mostly like shiny. They're all got like 7 wings. Like actually, biblically accurate like angels is a great way to explore like enemy design too. Like how fucked up can you make like some creature or enemy or whatever, and then have something like crazy for the player to fight. Like I think they should be doing that kind of stuff more, you know. But instead, what puts me off from a lot of like modern AAA like action games, it's just like the really basic enemy design. Um, on top of other things that I don't want to talk about right now. And to South of Midnight's credit, I obviously haven't like seen a lot of the game, so but the way they talk about the haints is that like they're manifestations of like negative emotion or negative just vibes in general, or like they're repressed memories and like traumatic things taking form. Like, you know, that's a solid concept that I probably seen in another game that I played. You know what, like if this were I hate saying this, but if this were Kingdom Hearts, like that would be one of like a thing. If there was a new enemy type, like there'd be one based on trauma, like Heartless or the what? It's the things left behind after someone's heart has been taken or some shit like that. And then the Unversed, they're all based on emotion. Nobody's are like the absence of heart, but they're the absence of the body, but they're the hearts left behind, or I don't fucking know. It's backwards, but I like it when they have reason to do stuff, to exist. Waterfall Cave. Why do I have to go here? Okay, do I have enough reviver seeds? I think I do. Okay, I think we're good to go for a story mission. Okay. I don't remember how many floors this has, but we're okay. We're gonna do good. Oh, see, you already found the first stair. And all those things, all the positives that I mentioned, Juchini, don't fucking wander off. All the positive ones that I mentioned like really inspired me to start one for my like idea. One of my enemy ideas is like, it's called the Timeless. I've talked about it a few times, but I need to really design more. But ultimately, I guess it depends on what what's called for like the game design of something. I don't know. I feel like you can design the enemies and then figure out how to work them in that order, versus like I feel like most of the time they'll design the game and then they'll be like, oh, we need to test a player with parrying, so they're making an enemy design like they based on parrying, or we need to test a player to react to a character with a shield, so they'll design an enemy with a shield, and then they'll just like meet the bare minimum of stuff like that, and then they won't like go further. Like there should just be like enemies that do like 7,000 different things, and there should be like 7,000 different enemies, just to like make it not boring, because I really dislike when you walk into a room. Actually, did Hi-Fi Rush do this? Like, oh, I thought it was gonna be a Monster House. That game's enemies were just like robots, and they're just what's it called? I don't remember the name of the company, but they're just robots that are after you. And I think they also kind of do the bare minimum thing of like, oh, we need an enemy that'll do this to the player, and then you might find like 10 more of those. You might find like 20 more of those throughout the game, and that kind of did happen. Where there's like an enemy that teaches you about characters that are again, enemies with a shield. There's an enemy with a shield, and you have to use peppermint to like shoot the shield, and they teach you about that. But then you fight that same kind of enemy like a bunch. You know, there's not a lot. Or there's like an enemy type for each kind of assist. Like there's the one that you need what's his name for? Moreau, the big black dude. I don't remember his name. It's like Montgomery or Monsoon or something. I don't know. It's like Monty Mole. It's like Mr. Burns. I don't remember. But yeah, there's enemy introduced to make you fight with specifically that guy. And then there's an enemy for Corsica. And then it's just like remembering what to do against those guys. I think there's a couple like flying ones that teach you about using the tether. And then I feel like there's a bird one sometimes. And then there's just like fast dudes. Yeah, I think that's like the extent of the enemies in that game. But I that game actually at least has bosses versus they don't like try to treat like, you know, fighting 3 elites in a room and call that a boss. Like that sucks. That doesn't happen in Hi-Fi Rush at least. Oh, but you know what? I think Sonic Unleashed does this too. It does both problems where it has bosses, but that game's enemies are called like the Dark Gaia beings or whatever. And they'll be just I guess sometimes you fight Eggman's robots, and they're just called Eggman's robots. But I watched a playthrough of that recently, Sonic Unleashed, and there'll be a lot of those kind of enemies, and they don't really ask too much of you. And some of them are designed to like be bullets, or not bullet sponges, but like just HP sponges. And they got to a part in like the final level where it just spawns 3 gigantic monsters, Dark Gaia spawns, and it's just like this is what they've got for like a climactic fight. Just 3 of them. That's boring. Like I know for sure, like earlier in the game, you would fight 1 of them, and that would be the climactic moment. But then here's just 3 of them. I guess 3 like really long enemies to fight. Here's 3 of them. Whatever. That sucks. Anyway, plot is happening in Pokemon Mystery Dungeon. Forgive me, youngsters. If I were to recall what proof you need, I'll be sure to let you know. It's me, Torkoal. Is that his voice? I think it would be like, Torkoal! Hey guys, it's me, Torkoal! Torkoal! Well, he's already done talking, so I don't get to use that voice. So Torkoal couldn't provide us with many answers. That's too bad. Oh, that's not entirely true. We know that we need proof, and knowing that is a step forward, right? Hey, we're searching too.
Yeah, but we didn't find anything.
Just don't give me up. We have to keep trying, my golly. What does Diglett sound like? I keep trying too, I guess.
We should try dinner. Rest up for the night.
That's some Flora.
We'll do my reference tomorrow. Thanks, everyone.
All right. Oh, well, thanks, everyone. I get tripped up. It's been a long time since I've done all the fucking voices. I also have a cold, so my voice is weird right now. Whoa. It's the moon. Things aren't going as well as they hoped. We talked with Torkoal, and I thought he was Hope. I thought he was Hope. I wonder how Grovyle is doing. We have to hurry. We have to find the 7 Chaos Emeralds. I was just kidding. I lied about everything. There is no hidden land. We've been dead for 50 years. Duh. And anyway, he's old. Torkoal is an old boy. Do you remember something? Indeed, but I recalled only one more tiny thing. Sorry to say. Yesterday I contemplated suicide. Torkoal, I was going to flip on my back and just lie there.
and I didn't want anybody to help me.
If a Torkoal is flipped upside down, do all the lava just kind of like spills out and then it dies? Well, they do say if the light inside of its shell goes out, it does die. So anyway,
Yesterday I contemplated the waters of the hot spring for a long time. Finally, a grim recollection surfaced.
but I don't know why he's like half surfer dude.
But it really is like something small. I wonder if it'd be even worthwhile to share with you dudes.
Not to worry. Every little variation helps, however small. Please say it. Please say it.
When we spoke of the time travel, when we spoke of the travel to Hidden Land yesterday, I said that you needed to prove that your qualification to go there. I remembered a bit more of that proof, dude. That proof there's a description of a certain pattern.
A certain pattern.
Hey, what kind of...
I can't even do his voice.
Hey, what kind of pattern would that be?
How can I describe it? It's difficult to describe it, dudes. But if I could tell you the pattern is quite intricate and odd. Is it because of the pattern?
I don't know what his voice is anymore. The kind of pattern you rarely see. Oh. Nobody can understand what you're saying, Bidoof. You think I could? You think I could? I can't understand you either. Can you not read, sir? Do you have problems reading a book?
We're trying to think of such a thing. It's not easy when one tries.
What could it be? The kind of pattern you rarely see. A pattern. What could a pattern like? What are you talking about? Wait a minute. A peculiar pattern. I remember a peculiar pattern. I what the fuck are you talking about? So one day I happened to find my relic fragment. All right, that's a peculiar pattern. All right, I never seen a pattern like this. That's it. The relic fragment was described. What's up, Chixie? Can't skip the cutscene? Yeah, I know. Yeah, my relic fragment. Yeah, pattern. Yeah. Hey, can you take a look at this? Oh,
This is it, dudes. We're all gonna die one day.
it's a pattern exactly like this. Well, where did you get this? I'm not sure if I remember where. Just having to pick it up. Yippee, this is fabulous. Since Pristinky has this, does it mean that Pristinky is qualified to go to the Hidden Land? Maybe yes, maybe no. Hit him with a dishpan. Who? Okay, there is a lot of talking, so I'm going to skip forward. Okay, so anyway, we gotta go to Brine Cave, and there's a big asshole there. But meanwhile, this Torkoal is getting jumped by 3 jerks.
That business with Wrigley some skill, no timers.
Oh, hello. I overheard you say something that sounded fun.
Something about the hidden land.
I was only...
Someone's coming.
Oh, guild chumps.
Oh, timer. Why don't we take this chat somewhere where we'll be able to be disturbed?
Hey, dudes. Don't kill me, dude.
He's a fucking turtle. I mean, he could just like burninate them, like burn them. Like, he could just like burn them. I'm kind of gonna plow through the game at this point. I kind of want to raise some of the other people we have. I don't think you can bring anybody towards the end of the game. It's just gonna be you and the partner anyway. So I'm going to make sure each episode after this is a story beat at least, because I feel like I'm getting close to just being kind of overpowered anyway. So that's where we're at. I'm gonna go to Brine Cave next time, and then everything will be okay.